Hello, good morning, my friends. It's 9 a.m. where I live, and I'm on vacation and have just woken up and had many ideas, and I have many things to talk about with you today. Very interesting stuff and changes that are happening in my life. So it's day 134th of me being completely committed to the teachings of Neville Goddard. And now I go to make a coffee and will come back to you and talk some more. Okay, I'm back drinking my coffee and let's talk about Neville. So, my life from past few days that I created the last video or the last Neville and Chat is that I can tell you that I have yielded completely to the idea that creation is inside ourselves, that creation is not outside, that it truly all come from within. And so I accepted that outer reality is a reflection of inner reality. So I'm starting to act upon these ideas because in the past I did understand it. I understood the idea, but it didn't seem logical to me. Like, we're living in this 3D world and we're taught from an early age that every action has a reaction, that you have to think about the right actions. And then I said, okay, if I have to find the right answers or the right moves, then I have to find the people that now know how things are done, And then I've listened to all the motivational speakers, the gurus, everyone, like I remember, I think it was Zig Ziglar who said that you have to find people that make as much as you want to make. And it seemed logical, It seemed logical, but then you look at reality and you see that like 10% of people in that category make maybe the amount that you want, or maybe 5%, I don't know. And then you see that I think it's just smoke and screen, The problem is that you cannot find it with logic. And this I have experienced in my life and have felt it deeply. So I'm starting to feel that creation is inside ourselves. So that we will and we are creating our realities from the way we are inside, from the way this inner being that lives inside yourself, this being that is thinking these thoughts and imagining creating this video. That's the right one, and that is the source of creation. So when you want to have something, you go to this source. And later on I will tell you a very interesting story that just yesterday I stumbled upon, and it's about a woman from adult movies, and will tell you what happened to her. Something very strange, very unpredictable. But before we talk about that, uh, I want to talk about forcing things. You know, a lot of the times when we go inside ourselves and try to manifest something or to change our lives, change ourselves, change our reality, we say that we go inside and try to force it, like I'm feeling that I have to move this thing. I have to have that. It's like a tension. It's like forcing it. I don't know if this works, but it doesn't feel pleasurable. It feels strenuous. It feels like work. It doesn't feel like a pleasant movement inside. And so the difference between forcing and yielding into it is, I think it's about buying completely into this idea that our imagination creates our reality. Because then you know that your imaginal acts are your real reality. And I have actually read a Reddit story. It's Reddit story 4, which is going to be, I have already scheduled it for the future, and you will see it. And I'm talking about the story of a person and the shift that happens and how it changed her life. So yeah, forcing, So instead of forcing, you say, okay, my imagination creates my reality. So when I go to imagine, when I go into this imaginal world, what I'm experiencing, it's the real reality. This world is just a shadow of that. And so it's our past. We are constantly looking at the past. The things that you are seeing now is what you imagined in the past, even intentionally or unintentionally. And the way you are, it's the way you have imagined yourself. So, for example, in the past, the way we are is the way we have bought into things, and I have bought some ideas from the culture where I live, in the community, which has really created, or I gave to those ideas power, and those ideas, or me, created a hellish life that I had to live. Now I feel that it is changing, that I am changing. So the way I change the I am is the way that my world is changing. And for example, in the past, when I was younger, like 15, 16, 18, I did a lot of fitness. It was like 20 years before the time now that is very popular. And I remember I was small and skinny, and I remember raising big weights, like weights that I don't rise now. And my physique didn't reflect that. And now I understand why. And it wasn't about eating right, because I studied everything about proteins, and that I can only consume like 30 grams, etc., 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 how many eggs and how many milk, and like I drank every day at least 1 liter of milk, etc., 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 and nothing happened. And I understand now why. Because I've seen myself. I've seen myself skinny, and so that's what was reflected. Now I'm beginning to see myself as jacked, and I am becoming jacked. And I can tell you that I lift like, I don't know, 5 to 10 kilos of weight, and some kettlebells of 8 kilograms. So nothing very out of the ordinary. And still, I have a much better physique. It's all about how I view myself and how I define this I am from the inside. And now let's move to the woman that I told you. So, some time ago, it's the story of, I think that she is the most famous adult film performer. Of course, we're talking about Riley Reid. And I didn't know about her, but I came across this this thing, on Twitter, where she says that, I mean, like, I saw this story from some guys on the internet, some influencers that were making fun of her, like she says, and listen closely to this: I imagine myself as being a trophy wife. And people on the internet were making fun of her, ha 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 ha, you are the last one, you are the last level or the lowest level of on society, blah 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 blah. On the other hand, I see herself as, I mean, I don't condemn porn. I don't know whether or not it's good for people or not. I don't know. If it's all created by God and it is all imagination, and if it is all created, then God says that creation is good. So if somebody chooses that path and see himself in that, I guess it's okay. And now I've seen a thread on Reddit where some guys from my country saying that are OnlyFans girls thinking about the future, because they will have some repercussions down the way because of what they do of OnlyFans. And then I'm thinking, okay. And then somebody posts that Riley got married. And I said, what? Because of course I don't follow, so I don't know what's happening. I just follow Neville. And they say, what? So she got married. So she imagined herself as being a trophy wife, and it happened. So her husband is, I don't know who he is, I didn't look it up. I've seen that he's rich, so she wanted to be like with someone that is rich. And so he made an interview, and the interviewer asked him how did they met, and he said that she came to him, although he said that he like tagged her on Instagram with something, and then later on she wrote him, and so they get along, and she asked him if he wanted to make a movie with her and blah blah. And I don't know who this guy is. I only heard that he's rich, something, I don't know. So, but everyone is saying on the comments, like 95%, that he took the biggest L, like a loser that possibly can be, and that all of the guys already been with her and blah blah, and she has no morals and blah blah and blah blah, and the gist. And the most interesting is that the guys are saying, yeah, when you feel down, you just think of this guy, and then you know that somebody is much lower than you. Okay. I don't know about that. I don't judge that. I really don't care. The most important part is that Riley imagined herself to be. So, like, she's, she is or was, I don't know, the number one in the world for the performers of all of them. So, and if you look at her, maybe she's not nothing special, like just a normal girl, and maybe she has some special charisma, and this special charisma has to come from imagination, from the work that we do. It's not something that you can choose to do. Like, you can't go, I mean, the face has 500 or 600 muscles, I've heard, I don't know. And so that she could think about, like, do it with her will to change her facial expressions to be the most attractive to guys. It just can't be done. So I think that she has used, maybe voluntarily or involuntary, this creation techniques to create herself, imagine herself being number one performer of the world, in the world. And now she imagined herself being the number one, married, like, trophy wife. So it is interesting. I mean, to me, it's very crazy interesting. And the worst pain is not coming across Neville like 20 years ago. Yeah, that would be great. But probably I wasn't ready, or I don't know. Maybe it would have seemed too good to be true at the moment. Yeah, but now it is what it is. But I'm starting to love my life. So that's, I guess, good. And now, before we go, let us read some Neville words, and let's see if they align with what we are talking today. And he says, this is from The Law and Other Essays on Manifestation. Okay, he says, leave all the wise men to mock it or tolerate. Let them reach the moon or the stars. They are all dead. Nothing lives outside of man. Man is the living soul, turning slowly into a life or giving spirit. But you cannot tell it except in a parable or metaphor to excite the mind of man, to get him to go out and prove it. Leave the good and evil and eat of the tree of life. Nothing in the world is untrue if you want it to be true. You are the truth of everything that you perceive. I am the truth and the way, the life revealed. If I have physically nothing in my pocket, then... Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. So, you are the truth of everything that you perceive. I am the truth and the way, the life revealed. If I have much physically nothing in my pocket, then in imagination I have much. But that is a lie based on fact. But truth is based on the intensity of my imagination. So see, the truth is an intensity of imagination. And then I will create it in my world. That's very important. Maybe that's how Riley got what she wanted. Should I accept the facts and use them as to what I should imagine? No, it is told us in the story of the fig tree. It did not bear for 3 years. One said, "Cut it down and throw it away." But the keeper of the vineyard pleaded, "No, who is the tree? I am the tree, you are the tree. We bear or we do not." But the keeper said he would dig around the tree and feed it on manure it, and as we would say to them, and see if it will not bear. Well, I do that here every week, and I try to get the tree, you, me, to bear. You should bear whatever you desire. If you want to be happily married, you should be. The world is only response. If you want money, get it. Everything is a dream anyway. When you awake and know what you are creating and that you are creating it, that is a different thing. The greatest book in the Bible, but it has been taken from a moral basis, and it is all weeping and tears. It seems almost ruthless as given to us in the Gospel, if taken literally. The New Testament interprets the Old Testament, and it has nothing to do with morals. You change your mind and stay in that changed state until it unfolds. Man thinks he has to work himself out of something, but it is God asleep in you as a living soul, and then we are reborn as a life-giving spirit. We do it here in this little classroom called Earth, or beyond the grave, for you cannot die. You can be just as asleep beyond the grave. I meet them constantly, and they are just like this. Same loves and same hates, no change. They will go through it until they finally awake, until they cease to react and begin to act. Do not take this story lightly, which I have told you tonight. Take it to heart. Tonight, when you're driving home, enact a sin, no matter what it is. Forget good and evil. Enact a sin that implies you have what you desire, and to the degree that you are faithful to that state, it will unfold in your world, and no power can stop it, for there is no other power. Nothing is independent of your perception of it. And this goes for the great philosopher among us who is still claiming that everything is independent of the perceiver, but that the perceiver has certain powers. It is not so. Nothing is independent of the perceiver. Everything is burned up when I cease to behold it. It may exist for another, but not for me. Let us make our dream a noble one, for the world is infinite, a response to you, the being you want to be. Now, let us go into the silence. I mean, listening to this is just beautiful, my friends. It's just so very, very beautiful. I love it. I just love it. So we are the creators, and you can create the life that you want to have, that you want to live. And I'm very grateful that you're listening to this, and I'm very grateful to have met you through time and through space in these settings. And before we go into the silence, I want to bless you, to bless us, to bless this life, and to create. My dear, create, 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 and let us persist, persist, persist. And now let us go into the silence and see you next time.